Hello there. It's time today to really spend some time focusing on what allows us to continue to be profitable and sustainable in the work that we do as trailblazers. I actually, just before this conversation, received a message on Facebook, and someone was asking a question around how they should name one of their courses. And at the end of the day, I ended up going for they had four different options, and I went with an option that included the word profitable in the title. And the reason for it for me was that in creating that level of money value, one they needed to actually do all the basic things that were included in all the other titles that they had: how to build a community, how to make it productive. And there's this element of like, actually, all those things are once all those things are in place, the amount of good and positive change that comes from doing making the work of community come to life, and the work that gets done in there, that too needs to be able to be put in a place where it can be sustainable, and where one can continue to invest into it. And so when I got that message, that was in relation to building a community online. But I think about that not only because I'm building a community. The Trailblazer Collective is coming online, where we have a community of practice where people come together. They are challenged, they put out of their comfort zone. Someone said to me, "I'm just looking for a place where I can meet my peers, people who play at the level that I do or above, and I can still fail every single day, so that I can actually learn and grow once again." So, like, I'm all about bringing people together in community. But I think about it from the standpoint of us as trailblazers. We have something unique that we can bring to life. We typically find ways to play in our zones of genius, which might, I guess at the end of the day, it's something that we really love to bring out into the world. It's almost like it's something that's important to us. It's something that we're good at, and it's also something that may be hard for us to be able to necessarily value, or be able to receive receive the money that and the energy that really is commensurate with the way that we show up in the world. And so today we have the chance to explore all that. It's on my mind here, and got a chance to talk to two of the people that we're going to be diving in with today. And there's just we get to explore the question of of value, and bringing that out in the powerful work that we do. I'm joined today by Georgie and Tamara, and we are going to spend some time in really just a powerful coaching space together. Right? The way that I play is, while we have a context for the conversation, we can always just go to what really needs to be addressed. Right? So we spoke before we got on here. We talked about we might talk about in this conversation, and I'll let you know, even now, I am okay with us going to some place that's different. And the only reason I say that is that sometimes just in voicing what it is that we feel is a challenge, we've been able to externalize it to a point that we're able to see actually what's underneath that on a deeper level. What lies underneath that is really this. And I want to give us the space to be able to go to that level of depth here. And my invitation is this: I know I'm going to hide nothing and hold nothing back with you. Are you all good with that? Okay. Number two, I am here to serve you, not please you. I want to make sure that distinction feels like true and good for you both. That sound good? Awesome. And then there's a third thing that's coming up that, like, I feel like I need to say, which is, my invitation is for you to be selfish. For you to be selfish here. There's like, whatever is going on through your minds right now, and whatever is weighing on your hearts, there are others out there that won't have the opportunity to spend time in the space with me, that to actually go and explore it. So just know that the most selfish thing that you can do, or let's say this, the most selfish thing for you is probably going to be the most beneficial thing for everyone else, right? So it is the ultimate win-win. That's my invitation to you, and we'll just go and grow from there. All right, awesome. So let's play here. Tamara, why don't we start with you? All right. For this session here, we'll focus at the format I have in mind at this point is more on the group coaching, where I'll coach each of you individually. But here goes the thing: like when I'm coaching one person, I'm coaching everyone, and so let's start with you tomorrow. Then we'll just see where it needs to grow from there. All right.
Sure.
So tomorrow we have a wonderful opportunity here together. If this was going to be a life changing conversation, what would we need to discuss?
Yeah, so before we hit record, we kind of talked a little bit about like I've just been through this really intensive coaching program. I feel like I've kind of gotten to a next level, presenting myself, showing up in a next level. I'm putting out content that is deeper and more meaningful to me than I've ever done before. But I'm not yet seeing that return monetary wise. And part of me feels like, is it just that awkward space where I need to wait for what I'm putting out to come back? Or is there something I'm missing? Is there something that's still inside me that's blocking that from coming in? So it's kind of about wanting to do a check-in to make sure that I am doing everything I can to create what I'm trying to create.
Okay, wonderful. There's an element here that okay. So I hear you on the check-in. I want to go even further than that, right? What do we need to talk about here? What's the thing that you haven't been able to talk about anywhere else relating to this that should really open up our conversation?
It's a tough one because I've had a lot of intense conversations with other coaches and people over the last few months that I've been able to talk about things that I haven't been able to previously. But specifically around this, I don't know, like we talked before around like the hesitancies that most people have around upping their prices or presenting a high price. And that doesn't feel like the issue for me because I've upped my price, I've presented that, and I've had it accepted. Um, yeah, I had kind of like at the beginning of this year, I worked on a project for a company in New York, and that was kind of one of the first times where I'd pitched a high price based on what value I believed I could offer, and it was accepted. And I did the work, and it was a great review at the end, which even through that, I was like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And they came out of it really happy, and I got paid more than I'd ever been paid for anything in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a second taste of that where I did a really powerful coaching session with a client, and they said yes to my high rate. And then COVID hit. So then that was kind of like put on hold because their payments were stopped, and it's now waiting for that to pick up again before they actually start working with me and make the payment. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's something deeper there that's stopping it, or if it is just waiting. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm like, push me harder.
Yeah.
Because
There's
there's something there I know, I just can't quite reach it yet.
okay. All right. Let's allow this conversation just to evolve as it needs to evolve, right? The things that when you're talking about this here, what strikes me is I'm getting a sense of what it is that you can offer. I'm
Yeah,
like there's a job like, am I doing enough? I'm getting that sense of like those are the types of questions that are coming to
yeah,
the surface for you right now, right? I actually am not really interested in how much you're doing. I know people who get paid thousands of dollars for an hour of their time to sit down in the room and be done with it. Like what you are quote unquote doing is irrelevant to me in this case here. I'm curious at this point here in terms of what are you creating and co-creating with the people that you are choosing to make proposals to. More specifically, I'm curious about the visions that they are creating there, and tell me a little bit about from that standpoint here. If they weren't buying what you could do for them, but the real thing that they're purchasing is the vision that they have for themselves. Tell me about how that has been integrated and how that's been showing up for you recently as you've been raising your prices and things along.
yeah. So it's And it's a tough one because I guess like I don't feel like I've had enough conversations where I'm directly coaching people.
Mhm.
Like I've done a lot of connecting lately with people, but has it been coaching? Like they've been getting insights and things like that, but because it hasn't been like a formal, I guess, coaching, like a potential client kind of coaching, like does it count, I guess. And I know that the value I offer in those conversations is huge because the insights and the feedback I get from people is fantastic. But yeah, like am I speaking to the right people? Do I still need to find them somewhere else? Like, yeah.
Okay. So let's play a little bit with this here because you're saying some things that actually really, they've been questions that have been running through my mind for a bit. And I want to just make sure that I'm being honest and open along the way. We started out this conversation here today with me making a very clear declaration that I am launching a community. There are different products and different things that I'm enrolling in, and how I like to enroll people is to give them a chance to experience some of what it's like within the programs that I have. And as such, we're going to hold our conversation this way. Right? I did that intentionally as well, because I've also been in a place where for a lot of time I'm giving value, I'm meeting people, we're having conversations. You couldn't not have an insight by spending time with me. Like, and I've been in your world there. We've had conversations and things have shifted for me. You can't be around me and not have your life to change, mainly because I'm like, I don't want to be around people who are who aren't allowing themselves that opportunity and possibility. That's the baseline of my conversations. However, what was missing for me was actually creating the containers that could put someone in the mindset of being able to understand be able to contextualize and understand what it is that we're actually doing. It isn't just a nice conversation that takes place. Actually, even when you're having a night, even when I don't say anything next to you, like I am bringing my power and skill that I've built over decades to be able to be in that space and hold you in the way that is necessary. And so there's a part of me that right now is like, okay, yeah, you're enrolling for coaching, but you're doing something other than coaching people, you know? And so let me pause there. I can elaborate, but I wanted to see like what about that like strikes you? What about that feels true? What about that resonates? And what about it's like, nope, that's not it at all.
Yeah, that definitely does resonate and it does fit with how I've been feeling and thinking about things. I think the fear around that is, and this has been the biggest fear for a long time, is
Mm-hmm.
do I have the people in my audience yet that are wanting that from me? Like the connections I've been making are all other coaches. Are they really looking for a coach like me? Like, don't they already have a million other coaches? Like, and some of those people I've had conversations with, and they've been like, oh yeah, I might have someone who'd be interested. And again, nothing's really come of that yet. So is it just a matter of waiting, or am I not in front of the right people yet? And if I do create that bucket, is anyone going to show up? Because I have created it in the past, and there hasn't been anyone show up.
Okay. So let's
Yeah,
talk about that last part. The thing about time is like time is out of our
yeah.
control. Like
And I've
as
got it.
creatives, yeah, exactly. Like as creatives, as people out there, like there will be times where when we get to a certain number of people that we're talking to, we can assume that we can have a certain but like the game that you're playing or the game that we're playing right now is not it's not on that scale such that like there's as much control around time or predictability from that perspective. So I'm specifically not answering the time based questions because like that you can have a conversation right after this call up someone that you've been holding back and avoiding calling, give them a powerful proposal and let them know like, hey, we are meant to work together at this rate, and all this time thing could be taken care of with a simple yes, you know? So I'm not worried about the time element. What I'm going to focus on is like, are you serving them powerfully enough? And are you creating a container such that they can actually go ahead and be within that space and really be
Yeah,
there?
I don't feel like I feel like the coaching people powerfully thing, that's definitely something I'm doing. And even from the conversations I've had with other coaches, like I said, they're getting insights which I didn't expect I'd be able to give them.
Hmm.
And even with the podcast, the conversations there's insights that I'm giving people that I never expected I could. So I feel like that feels okay. but creating the container and inviting people to come to that, like for example, something like this, that I think is the fear of, yeah, is anyone going to come if I do?
Yeah. Awesome. Yo, I get that. I had five of these sessions set up, and then we ended up consolidating them into three. I get that, and I put that. I share this part right here because like not only am I with you, but there's also a part like I know you in the sense of like you're living out in Japan right now. You're someone like who can be in a situation and make the necessary adjustments as it shows up. I mean, will someone show up? Not unless you really invite them. Will someone show up? Not unless you really invite them. And I think there's an element here in terms of what I'm hearing where it's like you've been building people, you have people in your world, but those people may not necessarily be, they may be an audience, but they may not ever be buyers. There's also there. I'm not sure here if there's like a story around like will these people like they're in a world of coaches? Do they even need coaches? There's an element of that we can also address. But I think that would only really speak to this particular point in time for you right now of like being like with the people that you're bringing in, as opposed to what feels like it's deeper, which is are you willing to put your flag out in the world and say, this is what I stand for, this is what I want, this is how I do it, and I'm now going to invite you in, knowing that there may be no one that says yes to that. Let's go down that path for a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Let's go down that path. I'm right now. I'm debating if I should go into like possibility with you or go into fear, like into not go into fear, but to go into the depth to see what we need to unravel there. Let's do both.
Yeah.
If we were going to make this simple, right? If there was something where like even just one person showed up for the conversation that you know that only you can have. And here's the thing, Tamara, like I'm looking for the conversation that feels risky for you. Looking for the conversation and the coaching conversation that like puts you on your edge, but also like confidently declares like this is what I talk about, this is like where I want to be, and this is where I want to play. Is if there was one session where even one person showed up for it, what would that session be about for you?
Hmm. Kind of what you just said around possibility, which is really at the core of the kind of coaching I want to do, which is shifting people's perspectives away from what they think is impossible. And it doesn't matter what they think is impossible. It can be due to their environment, it can be due to their background, due to money, due to anything, resources, and flipping that around to them going, hey, yeah, I could do that. Well, yeah, that could happen. And then them taking that next step, even just that first step towards that. Yeah, that's what really like gets me inside of like just that massive like proud mama bear moment. Like
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So firstly, let's capture that, right? Like shifting what they think is impossible and really getting to the place where they're taking that first step. Right. That's enough. That's enough to go out there. I don't know about you, Georgie, but like I would be up for that, you know? Like and to have someone that is really willing to take that to that has the ability to take that to go into that conversation with me. Question for you though now, right? What is it that feels impossible for you right now?
yeah. Like the first thing that's kind of coming up is getting the person on the call.
Okay, cool.
And
What's
that's
the
been
next
the thing
thing?
I've struggled
What's
with
the
most. Yeah.
what's the next thing? That let's get that out of the way.
Mm.
It really feels impossible to you, and like it's. I know that you play a big game. You've lived all over. You've done different things. You've created, so your realm of possibility might be more extensive than others.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the thing, like once they're on their call, I don't feel any element of impossible around getting them to that point. Because if they show up at that call in the right mindset that I set up through the questionnaires I do of like, you come in to play all in or you don't come at all, basically. As long as they come to the table like that, I can get them there.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm feeling right now intuitively is that there's maybe one more thing we can talk about in terms of like getting people onto the call or whatever. But for the most part, like you've gotten what you need when it comes to that. We can talk about getting the person on the call just so we can for a bit of completion. And I'm gonna like now say like knowing that we're gonna come to that and it's gonna be like literally 2 minutes and we'll be done with that for good, right? What outside of this context of like having like inviting people onto the calls or whatever it is, what really feels impossible for you in the grand scheme of things? What's a project that feels impossible? Who's a person that feels impossible to have? Like what really feels, if you are all about the impossible, then my friend, we need to go there in this conversation right now. I know you can have you can get someone on the call and make a proposal. Like we need
Yeah.
to go to your impossible really quickly and make sure that we spend time there.
Yeah, and the interesting. So I had this conversation a few weeks back about like what's the impossible, like the impossible goal thing for me. And for me, like, and it's interesting that we're talking about the money thing because the money thing to me, I don't see as an impossible thing because I can see the logical way of how you can get there. Like you make this amount of money, you reinvest, you go into, and you can get to certain numbers quite
You reach
easily.
out
I
to
can
this
see, yeah,
number of
I
people, you
can
do
see
this
all of
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I can see all
Yeah.
of that. Yeah. In for me, the impossible thing for me, which is quite personal, is, and I've had like tastes of it more in the last couple of weeks than I've ever had before, which has been so powerful. But it's being seen not only the way like to a depth and to a level that I see other people, but in a way that I've always seen myself. And then the second part to that is being loved for that, like all of that. And that's the part that's always felt impossible for me because I feel like, and this is partly myself as well, like I have this very like, don't need anything exterior, friendly with everyone, welcoming, helping, caring, all that, strong, independent. But there's also like an intent side to me as well, which is quite deep and can be quite intimidating, quite scary. And it's always felt impossible that anyone would see all of that, accept it, and love it.
I feel you here. I get that. This is part of the journey for me as well. Let me ask you here: what do you do to? I mean, how do I want to ask this question? First, I just want to let you know, like, I feel you on this here. This is why I talk to trailblazers and outliers because it's like to fully be seen with all of us and still be accepted and loved, to be valued. Like there's an element of this that may be shown through money, you know, but it's like to be valued as us with who we are. So the question, I try to give myself some space, but the question keeps coming back in, and it's the gist of the question is like, what are you doing to protect yourself from not, from the potential pain of not being seen, from the potential pain of not being accepted, from the potential pain of not being loved? What are you doing right now to protect yourself from that?
Yeah, and it's something that I've been focusing on quite a lot the last few weeks, particularly,
Mm-hmm.
and being more aware of how, because the problem is when you have like such an aware brain, it's like you can trick yourself. So
Uh,
it's like,
that's why I choose. That's why yeah, I get
yeah,
it. No,
yeah. And so like I've noticed to myself, like I'm letting some barriers down, but there's another couple that are popping up right in place. So
yeah,
it's
real
like,
quick. Yeah. So like let's I feel what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna take you off the
yeah,
hot seat and go to
yes,
Georgie, right? And the reason for this here is that so I get a chance to play with you, right? And one of the things that I'll say for myself, one like you have a really cheery disposition, right? And there's an element, and just like I said, I was going to hide nothing and hold nothing back with you, right? There's an element of that cheery disposition that I feel like is one of the ways that you protect yourself. It's like we're getting in there and like let's bring out the smiles, let's laugh about it here, and we're just like we're lowering the tension in the room as opposed to like allowing that time to take a breath in and answer the question. You know, we're escaping back to the past. So I've had conversations about this here, as opposed to being right now present with me in this moment. You have a very powerful person who can be and hold you in this space,
And I still did
right?
it, yeah.
And you still did it, right? And then the third thing I'm gonna call out is that like this year you have a very powerful mind. So our goal in this conversation is to bypass the mind altogether, right? And let's take some time to sink further deep into your heart and get into your deep intuition and knowing. I I really enjoy intensity because it's like that's one of the few things that helps me grow. If we're not in a space where the intensity is there, if we're not in a space where we're fully showing, I know you are a tall poppy. I want to just see how tall you are. And I know I've seen some things in the past that give me the indications of that. And I hear some of the things that you're doing, but like I get excited to know like what really is available for you. So my invitation to you is that I'm gonna take you off the hot seat. We're gonna talk to Georgie. I might come back to you at the end. We may not, right? But my invitation is that bring that level of intensity within you right now. Bring that level of like of allow if you are going to be seen without even saying anything, if you're going to be seen while I'm talking to Georgie, you know, and if we came back to you, you gave yourself the chance to be seen right here, right now, as you are, and gave us the chance to love you and see you exactly as you are, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Right. I love for you to spend some time really getting into your body and being with that there. And then we'll come back.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Georgie. Georgie.
Hello.
Hi.
I
I
got
can
a
feel
lot
I
out
can
of that, actually.
yeah. I can feel some like energy in my body right now. I'm like, I need to call out my own intensity. Like this is like we need to really you, we need to go to this place. So I want to take a breath in and just like allow that to integrate within my body. Will you take a breath in with me?
Mhm.
Just feel that as you need to, and just I'm finding myself putting my feet flat on the floor and grounding myself for where we are right now. Georgie, what has been your greatest insight? You said you got a lot out of that. If there was one insight, what was your greatest insight from that?
It was around authenticity and being seen for who I am. And whilst I'm out there offering so much free coaching to people who really need it as a long-term investment, the ability to be able to switch that, I'm offering this to you, it doesn't matter what the outcome is, to offering proposals to potential clients without attachment to any outcome.
Hmm.
Holding that feeling of just serving regardless, and knowing that I'll be all right and that the money will come in.
So let's play with you then. All right. I'm gonna leave your insight to be your insight. Whatever you needed to get from that, you got. Right. Let's play with you. You I am not while we took that breath, I just wanted to integrate that intensity. That intensity is staying, it's now coming out through my smile. It might be a playful intensity here. Or we might go into like deeper levels of depth than you and I have ever gone to. And you and I go like we allow ourselves to get there. Right. For you in this conversation, what is it that we need to talk about that would change it all?
Right now, I'm still trying to process um, my feelings about stuff. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
you know me, I'm always playing with duality. So
Mm-hmm.
my main objective right now is to build my business
Mm-hmm.
with high committed, high paying clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am coaching my butt off, and my higher self, that space of wisdom and relaxation, goes, you're doing everything right. You're going out, you're making connections. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a business, and they've just laid off 350 people. So rather than making the big coaching play, I just said, look, I'll do meditation sessions with your staff for the next month. I'll do group coaching because it felt right. And it's a way of serving and being known for serving. And that Nat, that busy narrator, keeps going, you need the money, you need the money. And that calmer self goes, no, actually you don't, you're fine. You're getting by absolutely fine. You're serving and you're actually making connections. And it is all about every single conversation that you have with that person is a seed that you sow. So it's really that duality between that constant worry in my mind, that anxiety about needing to bring in money and why am I not doing enough? And within that, a guilty feeling of not feeling ambitious, and that higher self, which goes, what are you worrying about? Just be, you know? And I am taking the time out for myself, and I am being selfish. I sat and I watched my daughter play, what's it called? Minecraft for an hour yesterday. And I know it meant an awful lot to her because that's the way she communicates. So just being able to take time out and not doing anything is actually a real investment for me. But also that feeling of not being ambitious enough and being okay holding the two worlds in balance so that I'm able to commit at the time I can and it's profitable and also have that time with my family. So what I'm trying to do is this side. I'm already spending all the hours. I just need to make it profitable. So I'm also in the same holding pattern as tomorrow in terms of letting go and just trusting it will come. And also that anxiety of, oh my God, you've got to convert this. You can have as many conversations as you like, but if it doesn't bring you money, you're not going to be a coach for very long. That narrator.
Yep.
So the most powerful thing I can get out right now is if there is any bullshit in there somewhere.
Oh, yay.
Calling it out. Is it the bullshit of shut up, wise self, stop making excuses, get out there and win some clients? Or is it the bullshit of that anxiety in my head? Because I could ping pong across between the two all day.
Great. The simple answer, it's both, and it's neither, right? So just to mess with you here, is it this or is it that? It's the duality of it, right? You live in duality, and there's someone I'm going to want to connect you with, Dr. Erin Baker in my world. She's a powerful coach who really spends her time in duality. She's about the and. Literally, like that's what she spends her time on, helping in the space of duality. So when you say that there, I'm like, oh, we need to make a connection there.
I'd love to. I've coached with her on your circles, on your community. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So I want to make sure I make that connection and set up the container and space for that. Let's do this. The place that I got really curious about here is to take this for you out of the, like, there's should I do more coaching sessions? Should I be doing my own service? And like to take it out of like the big third person picture and then bring it into like one person right now. And I get really curious about the conversation that you had the other day. Like where with the person that the company that recently laid off 350 people, right? I get curious about that there. And I think it might be useful for us to explore that through a real life experience, right? Where you were there, you were in the conversation. And what I heard, you can let me know if this is not the case, but what I heard is Georgie was there. She's this powerful person who can help people. I think like this leader and this organization is trying to figure out how they navigate this uncertain time right now. And as leaders, like they just had to make a difficult decision to lay off 350 people. And there's a person in front of you who's in conversation with you who is having to deal with the uncertainties and the challenges on both the business side of things, and then also what that means for them as an individual, the duality of the personal and the professional that taking place. And then rather than stepping in to support in that way around that, what I heard is that it felt like you're like, okay, they can't handle anything more right now, given all this. So I'll make a proposal around meditation and coming out and mindfulness and things like that. So let me make sure I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah, contextually, she heads up she would be the person who makes the decisions about bringing on coaches. So it was never about coaching her. It was always about actually taking part in this initiative that they have on a weekly radio thing. So it's like an internal podcast. So it was always about that. And for me, that was a creative space to play and reach.
Okay.
So for me, it was always a wider initiative.
Okay. All right. So, and I want to just keep playing with this here, just from the standpoint here. There was an element in your. I guess the question I have is, did you hold back in that moment? And there's probably a part two to that. I'm not sure if that's the powerful one here. Was there a way that you could have served her even more powerfully in that moment?
I'm sure there was, and it didn't even cross my mind, Yama. We had a quick conversation, well, half an hour conversation. I could see she was distressed, but it wasn't the time. I think the time would be, and I'm going to do this, is to call her and just say, would a coaching session be useful for you? And to offer that up. Deep discovery, deep transformational conversation. Because she's the one I ultimately want to impress, right? I want her to see the benefits. So yeah, that didn't cross my mind.
So let's look at look at that here. And tomorrow there may be some things here around like creating that container. Georgie's a powerful person. She can do a lot of different things. And there's someone right there in front of you who has the decision of like being able to bring in coaches, and the thought of being how you can support her so that she can get the experience of what it's like to coach with you never even like cross your mind, or not even so that she can get the experience. That's actually, I think that for us, like the terms of the duality of it all, like so that she can get the benefit right now, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are looking for things from her, and for her to have a space that is actually held for her to be able to navigate this, to be able to slow down and move forward with that, to have someone who's willing to bring that level of attention to her, that might be a rare opportunity. I know I'm talking to a lot of leaders who are just like, I didn't even know I needed this. I was just going. I was doing. I never had anyone, like I was taking care of everyone else, but there was no one that was able to take care of me. And there's an element here where I just want to like open up that invitation for you here to have it, not only have it cross your mind, but to also allow it to be an intention. If we can always go and do meditation series, we can always do the part of the podcast. You want me on that? That's simple. I'm curious about you. And what I'm hearing from you is it wasn't the right space and time. Yeah. And going back to what we are talking about earlier with tomorrow, it's like, okay, great. What I'm hearing now is like, you're going to you're now looking into creating that space and time.
But behind that, there's also this duologue that's going on about, I don't need more people who aren't paying me for me to offer services to their time. I've got a full playlist like that. I'm trying to keep it all held up and maintain that peacefulness for myself, that calm abiding. What I do want is the opportunity to convert. So really the opportunity with this company is to raise awareness and to plant seeds. I'm kind of also on an energy conservation. Okay. So really it goes back to, I can have that conversation with her. I think it would help. I think it really would help. And I'm trying to go out and serve as many people as I can, especially since my clients are losing their jobs. It's hard for people to pay. Actually, a couple of my clients have got new jobs. Yeah. They're still out there, So where is that balance,
It's interesting because like you're talking about balance here, and I'm going to invite you to come back and watch this recording at some point, because to me it felt like you just like went like in a Mobius strip. You're like I know that this could be a person, but I'm trying to focus on converting, and I'm going to go out and do meditation, which is not like what you really do for money, And like, so there's a lot and like we can take this, and there's one person here who you can really serve and really be able to find leverage with. And then mine went out to like, I need to just go out, I need to find different people, and I need to figure out different ways to convert. So as I was listening to it, I was seeing like the tail being chased along the way. Right. Because it feels like you want to convert. I'm like, you're in a conversation with someone right now who really understands the power of coaching, who this is not a brand new thing to her in terms of coaching overall, whether it's within the organization or not. Like, this isn't new to her. Right. And with that right there, there's a resistance that feels like it's showing up in this conversation. I want to make sure I'm calling that out and slowing that down, because it's like, what you're going to get back to this point here once again, but And so we got to make sure that like I want to make sure we're not missing it as it's right there in front of you as well. Not to say that she's going to become a client, but there's this element of it of like of slowing down there that I at least want to make sure that whether or not you take action on it, that's I'm less attached to that and more about like slowing down and seeing like what are the opportunities that are right there in front of you right now with that don't require that you can really be in a place to really serving and convert it that like at this time. So I'm going to
Yeah,
slow that down.
yeah, you're right to call that. I instead of being in the moment and serving, I had that sort of anxious, okay, that actually, no, that's not even true. I'm going to call myself on that. It was a willingness to serve and to reach
Mm-hmm.
in the best way that I know could help people. And within that, there was group coaching as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there was awareness, there was reach, there was group coaching, but I did miss that opportunity to be there for her. And part of that was allowing myself to be out of the moment and worrying about what's next.
Yeah. And like I want to say this here. There's no part of this that's like this is how it should have gone. It's not that. What I want to do is raise your awareness of the opportunities that are there. You are someone who are having conversations with high level leaders on a regular basis here, and what I want to make sure is that you're not going for what feels easy or what feels like okay. Well, I think because I'm hearing stories. I'm hearing stories around there's a lot of people who've lost their jobs, and then boom, if you just watch it, they're like, and I know people who do like who just got hired. Like all of this is happening simultaneously, and I'm wondering where you're putting the weight. I see you as a loving, caring person who wants to give, and you're like, and I'm listening. I'm wondering how much your stories around their experiences are keeping you from being able to really serve what's right in front of you.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely do tend to veer towards the side that goes, well, they can't afford it right now. And, that is a lot of money. And would I be able to pay that much money right now, which I couldn't
Boom.
afford?
That there, right? This is about you.
It
This
is about,
this 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 thing is not about them, and this is where the service gets disconnected. You have a gift out there, and you're instead of putting the attention on the person in front of you and giving them like respecting them with the opportunity to actually have them be confronted with their goals, with their visions, with an opportunity during this time when most people are cutting back to be able to like actually make an investment. Making investments during down times tend to like help people rock like leapfrog at when everyone else comes out. Everyone else is out there just kind of sheltering in place, and like there are other people who are making moves. And right now, what's coming up is that you're focusing on, well, can I afford it? That's a lot of money for me. You have no idea what they can afford. You
that's
have
a
no
useful
idea what it's even
reframe.
worth for. Yeah,
Yeah, about the downtime. Yep, I can see that.
you've been in conversations with me for a while. Like I, at a certain point, I'm like, I'm done talking about problems. We need to talk about possibilities because most people are going to talk to you about problems, and you're only going to get a marginally better result than what you have right now. I know that there's something different that creates even more, especially during uncertainty. And that is to know where you're heading. That is to get in touch with your purpose. That is to go and create a possibility of what it is that you want. And like that's my flavor of it all. But I know the value in it. We're in the middle of COVID-19. There's uh, uh, high Black Lives Matter and race tensions in the U.S. There's so much going on. It's like, well, where's the space for coaching right now? It's like, when wasn't there a time for this here? When wasn't there a time for this? And so, like, as I'm hearing here, like, my thing is, we've talked about this beforehand here. Like, I am really curious about how Georgie would show up if you quadrupled your rates. And I'm saying quadruple now because last time I talked to you, I said double. And I know that even then you've stepped up there, right? And I'm like, all right, since that double didn't fully happen, like what would it be from that place? But it's a bit of a stretch. But the idea is like in this conversation, I get curious of like, is Georgie showing up as the XYZ coach based on what she thinks she can afford, what she thinks like she can provide, and so on and so forth. Or is she willing to step into what is it like if I was going to serve at a level where I was getting 4 times my current rate, double my current rate here, right? Not in terms of doing more, but serving more, right? Again, you can get 1 hour 1 hour of your time could be whatever it's worth, right? That's irrelevant to me. But there's a part of me that's like, I see you as someone who would show up even more powerfully than what your current rates are. And I'm almost wondered if you're showing up to the level of your rates as opposed to the other way around. And if that's the case, then let's go from there.
I'm not. I look at what my clients are getting out of this, and it's definitely worth a shed load more than what they're paying me. For me, the
Are you
obstacle is
giving
that
them, I'm going to ask a quick question before the obstacle comes in. Are you giving them the opportunity to know that?
No.
Yeah. Like this is it. Like this is the hard part, because like I can feel like the energy in me right here. Like I'm like, it's like we are givers and we're trying to this is where the serve versus please comes in. Like you are missing out on serving your clients by letting them know the value of what it is that they're taking on. There is lessons for them just in the yes of making the uncomfortable decision to say, this is more than I've ever spent on a vacation. This is more than I've spent on this. Like this is give them the opportunity to be confronted with their vision and to really decide and to really know, like, this is what I'm creating in the world. I am making this investment in me.
So I can see how that could work with my existing clients, because they've experienced that, right? Along the journey, and you go, well, what is this worth to you? What is this complete transformation that you're going through? What is that worth? But I think if I apply that then to the coaching conversations that I have, is really just go out there and serve and just, all right, Rich, slow it all down.
Well, here's the thing. It's always about that question. What is this worth to you? My thing is that like you'll notice even in this conversation, I'm modeling what some of y'all are going through as we have the conversation, right? Like, so I may not have asked, what is this worth to you here? But like, there are certain types of questions that came up, right? Where I'm like, this isn't the conversation that will lead to life-changing impact. I come out and I'm like, I am a stand for life-changing. Why? Because it is life-changing is what, like, not only does it like help move you forward, but it's the thing that people are like, I'm willing to invest in. If I'm a wonderful consultant. I can consult with you and help you find solutions to problems, to anything, but is that something that I would actually want to sit down and invest in? So the question that you had there of like, what is this worth to you? I think like this is why I come back to the rates. You in particular with the rates there. I'm like, are you finding problems and solving problems at the level of what that rate is, or are you looking to say like, for what you're going to pay me, if we just work on this, you're not going to get the return on investment that you're really looking for. So we need to go to something deeper. We need to go to something bigger. It just happened right now with Tamara. I was like, we can talk about how do you get someone on the call and will they come in here? But for the level that I play at, we need to take on something bigger. What's really impossible for you? And taking it to that level of conversation. I know what my rates are. It is not easy to work with me. It is not easy to work with me at all. That's why I create these opportunities so that people like can get an opportunity to do it and also experience it. But like it consistently is like, we need to be playing at that level. And I'm inviting you to invite your clients and those you serve to be there, and not wait. Like if it's as simple as like asking that question earlier in the game, then like, please do. If you're like, I can ask my clients, what is it worth to you? But the perspective of the people that I'm serving right now, we don't know. It might be one of the most powerful questions you can ask them. What is that worth to you? And if the answer that they give you is not anything meaningful for you or them, that's service. And like, great. Now let's talk about the thing that's worth X to you. What would it be like? What would be worth 10 times that much to you? We need to be talking about that in this conversation.
My brain is processing how I can actually apply that and where I can apply that. And I'm going to start applying that this week, certainly with some of my existing clients. Because right now we are in problems and less in possibilities. I'm being paid in problems. And whilst what I'm doing is serving possibilities. Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it to let that like percolate, like keep us in. Let me pause there. I'm gonna leave it and let that percolate, because if you can really understand that, you'll realize that that me asking you to double your rates and all that stuff has been me saying, how are you going to show up in the world and actually make sure that you are looking for and serving to bigger and bigger problems and possibilities. It's not about your number out there. This is about, I see you as someone that has a tremendous gift to give to the world right now, and they need to know it. Part of it, and part of it is, are you willing to spend the time to extract that which really matters?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do this, Georgie. I think we're at a good place here to let this sit, right? Percolate, and you can take it. Your brain can do some work. I'm only consistently invite you to bring it even deeper down to the heart and down into your deeper intuition. So I'm noticing here we're over time here. So let's go ahead and just wrap this up in this way here. Tomorrow, I decided that for you, I wanted to model like what intensity could look like in a way here. There was no holding back along this way here. Some people may watch this and they may not have any interest in ever being a part of my world as a result of how I showed up. And there are going to be a lot of people who are like, oh, this is the thing that I've been missing right now. This is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to invite us here. I'm going to close this conversation with this. If you're looking for a place where you can be intense, where you can come out and fail, where you can have someone like these groups of people here that will be able to see through the stories that you're making up. I almost said lies, but I think it's more than that. It's more stories. They're real. It's the truth for us here. Come join us in what we do here. Go to niyamashang.com/tribe and get an experience yourself of really having a life-changing conversation and be surrounded by a group of peers who are playing that game. And then when you're ready, come join us in the Trailblazer Collective, where we do this week after week, day after day, and we're consistently finding new ways to pull ourselves forward. But first, come be a member of the tribe. Go to niyamashang.com/tribe. I'm looking forward to serving you there. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Niyama.
Hey, Niyama here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and then go ahead and leave one of your insights from today's video in the comments below. If you're looking to take this deeper, you can go and watch another video, or you can go to niyama.com/tribe to get exclusive invitation to our tribe member only events. I'll see you soon.